It's time for
It's Fanboy Weekly for all you geeks, nerds, and blurs. Let's get our geek on.
Well, guys, it's finally out. It's August 2013, and Infinity has finally hit your local comic book stores. I got my copy today. Had to go to two stores, though. The first place was sold out. And I didn't know they had an event at my local, the one that I normally go to. If you remember the Free Comic Book Day podcast, where I was there, and um, this is where I went, and they had a launch party on the 14th. I always miss all the good stuff, so I didn't get to attend. But I went to the second store and I grabbed a copy of Infinity. It's thick, it's a big book. I didn't realize it was going to be so big. But this is the part one of six, and it has Thanos in this kind of blue and dark menacing cover. It looks absolutely amazing. I don't know if they had any variant covers. I didn't see any, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. It's $4.99, so I was expecting more, $3.99, but $4.99. You can also download it on the Marvel AR app, but I'll get to that in a second. I haven't read it yet. I just kind of paged, and the artwork is amazing. It just has a lot of stuff in it. You see, first they start in, they're not in Wakanda, but it's Black Panther, and he says he's remembered. He was saying something about he remembered who he used to be. He uses some kind of weapon. Don't know what that is yet. Like I said, I haven't. Uh, Read it completely yet, but I wanted to let you guys know some things about it first. But the cast, so when he has like a movie cast, the cast of characters, and I'll just name the groups. You have the Illuminati, the X-Men, the Builders, who I'm not familiar with, the Space Knights, the Avengers, and then Humans. And then Abigail Brand, if you remember her from Sword, if you guys happen to see the Spider-Woman digital motion comic, the six-part series, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It is on iTunes. But you also can watch it for free on Netflix. And then, of course, our villain, Thanos, and the Skrulls. What I liked about this, it also on the front right lower corner, it gives you a bonus digital edition. So you guys who have the Marvel app, just for your iOS device and also for your Android devices, you can go to those stores respectively and grab the app. I haven't used mine as much. I used it a little bit during the Avengers versus X-Men crossover for a few episodes, and that's what I was going to initially do, because if I didn't find the copy of Infinity today. But remember back at Free Comic Book Day, they started this series. You get the free comic, and it was kind of introduced to what's going on. It's supposed to be a big crossover, but just looking at it, only three of the X-Men are involved, and that's going to be Wolverine, Storm, and Kitty Pryde. I'm a big X-Men fan, and just about all the Avengers, even some ones that I don't know, are going to be involved in this series as well. But what I liked about it, to get your free digital copy, you had this part in the back of the book, toward the back, to redeem your code for it. And then it has like a little peel off thing, like you get at McDonald's for the Monopoly pieces. I didn't tear mine completely off, but be very careful, because I tore. When I did peel it back a little bit, the last three letters were kind of ripped off as well, but I was able to figure out what it was. So if you haven't signed up, you have to go to marvel.com/redeem, and then this is good for a year, August 1st, 2014. That's when it's going to be over with. But when I did download it, I actually got the Infinity comic, and also a new comic called Infinity Against the Tide, which is a Silver Surfer scroll series that I enjoyed. So I read it, and I didn't even read the Infinity all the way through it. It's going to take a couple of reads for me to find out what's really going on and where this storyline is going. I do know in one of the pages you see Black Bolt opening his mouth, and he normally doesn't speak because just the slightest whisper can ruin civilizations and destroy worlds. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to really get to that because I was just glancing through. But check it out. Get your free comic, your digital comic. If you don't have the Marvel AR app, download it, get your code in there, and get your free comic. They also, which like I said, I haven't used this app in a long time. They also have a ton, which before they didn't. They have a ton of free comics. I downloaded a Avengers series. They have Share Your Universe, Spider-Man, Thor the God of Thunder, Infinite Comic, Guardians of the Galaxy. They have a ton of free ones if you just want to just load up, and they're old. Not too many so far this year. The free comic book day one, the Marvel mixtape, which I just actually picked up at the comic book store. The owner gave me a copy when I was leaving. Then they have the Share Your Sampler. I just got that as well. The Avengers, Captain America, Hulk, Agents of Smash. That was one of the free comic book day issues. And then Iron Man, which is part of this. The one was the Marvel Universe Sampler. So check it out. Check the Marvel app. Go grab your Infinity copy because, like I said, my comic book store, they were out. And then get your free digital copy with a bonus digital copy of Infinity Against the Tide featuring the Silver Surfer. And I guess this all ties into this Infinity timeline. So thank you guys for listening.
Whether they're brawling with a disgusting slime monster,
Pizza!
battling devious pizza delivery guys, or tackling complete and total boredom, they're the Teen Titans, and they're totally going to save the world, or something.
Really?
Well, maybe after a tasty sandwich.
Ain't no mountain high enough to keep me away from this sandwich.
Teen Titans Go!
I recently had the opportunity to watch Superman Unbound. It came out this year, so it hasn't been out that long, but I think it's been out on DVD for a while. But I got my free Redbox rental. I'm like, it was a good opportunity to check this out. Although I'm still waiting to see Justice League Flashpoint, the Flashpoint Paradox. I haven't seen it yet. Plan on seeing it soon, so I'll have a review on that later. But Superman Unbound, to me, it was a sequel of Batman Superman Apocalypse. And I actually liked it. It had Supergirl in it, and she kind of starts the whole thing off by rescuing Lois Lane in the beginning, and it's kind of this kind of anti-hero, kind of the thing she kind of took on in Batman Superman Apocalypse. But I think she's a little older now. She's into the crime fighting gig, and she's afraid. She's afraid of. I guess all her memories are back now. If this is a true sequel, all her memories are back now, and she remembers Kandor being taken. But at first, she doesn't really tell Superman because he's kind of mad at her how she kind of handles her super heroine feats, and and of course they have this kind of back and forth. She says, well, it's how they explained it. She said that you don't tell me what to do. I'm older than you, and she always refers to him as as Cal, and he's like, it's different now. He's like, they said boom tube. He said, I came through the boom tube earlier than you did, so I'm older than you because obviously she got through there later. If you guys remember the whole mythos between Supergirl and Superman, but anyhow, and this kind of goes on through the whole show and until a Brainiac probe comes to Earth, and of course Superman goes to investigate. They have a fight, which I thought was funny. This Brainiac probe that he fights early on is it's pretty badass. You know, he takes Superman on, but of course Superman ends up winning. He takes it back to the Fortress of Solitude. What I did like, Supergirl is living with the Kents, and I remember at the end of Batman Superman Apocalypse. He took her there to live after, and then they destroyed the house, of course, but obviously it's been rebuilt. And they have an exchange, the Martha Kid and Supergirl Kara. But anyhow, Superman, if you know, is examining the probe, and there's like a beacon in it. He's trying to find out. Exactly where it came from, and Supergirl, she goes there and she recognizes it. She kind of gets scared, and she still doesn't tell him what's going on. And then I think she does finally tell him what's going on, and then he says, well, I'm going to find, she tells him it's called Brainiac. You know, he destroys worlds. And then that's kind of how she tells the story of Kandor being taken, and she was one of the ones that survived. Superman then finds Brainiac in space, and he's in this kind of super ship with all the crystals and things from Krypton, and then he ends up, there's a fight between him and Brainiac, and he's on the losing end, but he somehow escapes. He escapes with Kandor, and then Brainiac is like, you know, I'm not done. I'm coming to Earth. So he comes to Earth with his whole army of Brainiac robots, and they start to attack a metropolis. And then you see throughout the thing, there's this relationship that obviously Lois and Clark has, and you know, they're obviously dating, and she can't tell anybody, and he's Superman, and all that whole dynamic, which is the whole story was cute with a little love aspect of it. But then Brainiac makes it to Metropolis. He's taking Metropolis at the point, and he actually succeeds and takes Metropolis up on this ship. And I don't know, in previous versions and different incarnations, I didn't know Brainiac was this tough to kill, but he was pretty tough. He was like giving Superman what for, but in the end, they was able to save Kandor, and they actually take Kandor to a planet that has a red sun, which I didn't understand. Why don't they let him live on Earth? But I guess he didn't want a whole bunch of superpowered Kryptonians running around Earth. But and then Brainiac, the whole thing was he wants to know everything about everything. But Superman put it in perspective as you can't know everything about everything because you only have a piece of the puzzle. You know, experience it for all it is, and he kind of freaks out and blows up. And then at the very end, Clark is tired of, you know, hiding his relationship with Lois, and he asks her to marry him, and then I guess it was a bit too big intention, but it was really good. So you guys need to check that out. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to see Justice League, the Flashpoint Apocalypse, but I haven't did it yet. But like I said, this is a good one to check out if you guys haven't seen it yet. I hope I didn't spoil anything for you guys. The actor, which I was surprised to find out, who voiced Superman and Clark, and it was Matt Bomer. He's the actor from White Collar. He also was in Magic Mike, and he happens to be gay, and he just got married to his partner. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's it for our little movie review for Superman Unbound. Hope you liked it.
Check us out on Facebook at The 5x5, or tweet us at The 5x5, or go to Recycle Blog Talk for past shows. Thanks for tuning in.
Fanboy Throwback.
This week's throwback comes from 1990's The Flash TV series. I absolutely love this series. It was on I think it went from September to May of the following year. But I enjoyed it. It did the whole Barry Allen, how he got his powers. I had a brother that died at the I remember it had a brother that died at the very, very first episode. And then that kind of made him mad, and not that it made him who he was, but it made him want to, when he got his powers, to use it for good. But John Wesley Shipp was the the guy who played Flash, and actually he was an Emmy winner, a daytime Emmy winner for a soap opera. He hasn't been in much lately, but I liked his portrayal. But all the basics were there. The explosion that made him the Flash. The only thing I didn't like was how they had to replenish his energy because running, or getting that speed or having such a high metabolism wore him out. So he had to replenish it. So he had this doctor that they gave the kind of origin why he had to wear the suit, why he had to have the little things on the side of his head. I thought it was funny. But you had to replenish his metabolism by eating a lot of food. I remember that from the series. I know the Flash he does eat a lot. In I remember in one of the Justice League Unlimited, the balance, he ate a whole bunch of hamburgers or something. But it was a good series. It also showcased Mark Hamill. I think he was one of the villains. If you know Mark Hamill, he's from Star Wars, the whole Star Wars legacy. And also, if you guys don't know, the very first animated Batman, he was the voice of the Joker. And I think he does a lot of voiceover work for a lot of comics. But I think the show was ahead of its time because I don't think comic books and the fanboys and the geekery hadn't reached its pinnacle like it is now. When you have all the cons, they was having them back then, but they're major now. I know Barry Allen has now started making his rounds away at some of the cons, because he is part of that whole legacy. One of the first, not one of the first, but he was in the first stages of on the live action TV superheroes before Arrow, before Smallville, way before those guys. And I think it was produced today. I think it would be a great show. I thought that Smallville would have given a spinoff to their version of the Flash, but it hasn't happened yet. We're too occupied for with Stephen Amell and Arrow. But it's enjoyable. You can find most episodes. I know they're on iTunes. And the ones that I seen that kind of made me choose this to be the Fanboy Throwback this week was I seen it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this show. So check out Barry Allen. Check out John Wesley Shipp on the Flash TV series. It's a good watch for you fanboys out there. As you can tell from the song, this podcast is totally about, well, not about, for Wonder Woman. I've always been a Wonder Woman fan since the 70s with Linda Carter. And me being a mini gay fanboy, I would go out in the middle of the yard, spin around like I was turning to something. They should have knew back then, possibly. But anyhow, I've always loved Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. The whole Wonder Woman mythology, kind of mixed with Greek mythology, because I've always loved Greek mythology. Um, but what I'm wondering about Wonder Woman is how come we cannot get a Wonder Woman movie, television show, something that's live action? They've tried. And if you guys remember, predating the Wonder Woman series that came in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a Wonder Woman movie. I'm not going to, it was horrible. I absolutely hate it. The chick had blonde hair, a horrible outfit, no powers. It was just the worst thing ever. But I want you guys, I'm not even going to tell you who played the part. If you guys can tweet me at the 5 by 5, the 5 numeric, or comment on this show and let me know if you know who it is. And then in the next Fanboy cast, I'll let you guys know. Or you just go to the blog and find out. Like I said, it was a horrible show and I don't want to remember it. But recently, Wonder Woman had some life, a little bit of life, because they actually filmed a pilot. And I'm going to say, and I know some people are going to hate me for saying this, I didn't hate it. I wanted to hate it, and I was one of the fans that yelled at NBC for how she looked, the horror portrayal, the chick who played her. To me, it was all horrible. But the failed pilot from NBC starred Adrian Palicki, and I know I'm saying her Palicki, and it was kind of a retelling of our Amazon princess. It made her more of a vigilante. As Wonder Woman, she fought crime, but she also ran a company as Diana Themyscira. So they threw the whole Themyscira, like the island of Themyscira, into this retelling, which fans didn't like, obviously. And then she had another identity as Diana Prince, the Diana Prince that dated Steve Trevor. And then you see Steve Trevor in flashbacks. You see Etta Candy, as she was an advisor to Wonder Woman. And unlike the 70s Wonder Woman with Linda Carter, this was more modern, so they put her in our world today. But again, why 2013? Why can't we get a solid story? It was very, very corny, I think. I think the first scene we see in the pilot is her running. She doesn't fly. She does have a jet. It's not an invisible jet. It was like a kind of a pod thing that was kind of interesting. But I didn't hate the way she looked. I hated the way she ran, but she did some leaps and bounds that made her more super. And then the robe, it looked really cheap, like she got it at the Dollar Tree. It was that bad, but she used it more like she used it in the animated show, which was in Doom. It's more like a whip, but she beats the bad guy. And this, the whole premise of this, there's the Kale woman from the comic books. I think her name was Kale, Laura Kale maybe. She used it. She was giving these people superhuman powers with these steroids, and made these people faster and stronger. And but it was essentially killing people. So this was the whole plot line for this. She was stopping this person. I think even Cheetah. I think she said he runs like a cheetah. So they even mentioned that in this pilot episode. Um, but like I said, because well, this is what I didn't know before I watched it. You know how the new outfit was, and Wonder Woman has had several outfits. So in retrospect, I don't know why I got so mad. I think you had to be, I think us fanboys, and that are. So staunch about how we want our comic book characters to look on screen. I think we had to give a little because everybody hasn't had our reference, I guess you should say. And for everybody, to more people to be brought into the fold, I think you have to be a little bit more willing to give up some things. But with the outfit, she did don the shorter, skimpier one at the end for the major battle, which was funny. She had the pantsuit at the beginning for a minor battle, but then a the traditional Wonder Woman outfit for a major battle. But it went on and went on, and like I said, I didn't hate it. It wasn't that bad. So, but the thing about pilots, if you remembered, if you guys have ever watched Charmed, the Charmed pilot didn't even have Alyssa Milano in it. It had some other chick. A lot of the same scenes, but it was just like, this is bad. And then it got some life. And then even more recently, the CW tried to do a retelling of Wonder Woman, and they was going to call it Amazon. And there was been the story before she became Wonder Woman, like they did with Smallville. I think the reason it didn't work out because it would have kept Diana on the island of Amazons, not put in man's world. If they was going to do this, in my opinion, they should have, it could have been an island, but like in Percy Jackson, you had a portal from right where we are into this island, and only she could traverse this portal. And then, so she would be in our modern day world that can get in and out as Wonder Woman. But I don't know what they was doing, but they've shelved it. They need to tell a similar story if they ever do it in the movies to the one, the Wonder Woman animated movie. That was done very well. Every incarnation on the animated side has been very good, even in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited weekly shows. The stories, they were very good. The movie was awesome. Her portrayal in Doom, and then from what I hear, her portrayal in the Flashpoint Paradox, it's been very good. But yet still, they can't seem like to translate it. I think people that say they're worried about the Greek gods thing. Well, now in the New 52, she's a demigod. So is Percy Jackson, and he's on his second movie. So, and she's been around a lot longer than him. But I don't know if we can wait long enough. I think if they introduce her in some aspect in the proposed Superman Batman movie in 2017, 2015 that they talked about at San Diego Comic Con. Then they can introduce her, and then that way she can either be in her own movie, because Marvel has done it successfully. They've introduced characters that we see, like they did with the Black Widow, even though she's not a superpower, but she's a bad girl. And they introduced her in the second Iron Man, and then we see her in subsequent movies, and then we see her in the big one. So I think it can be done, but they need to introduce her. I think they'll be able to branch her back out and reinvent her and brand her. And I think they need to stop saying, well, little girls won't appeal to her. Little girls aren't reading that many comic books. It's us grown men that are reading comic books, and that's gay fanboys that are in love with Wonder Woman the way she is. So I think that's what DC needs to look into. And that's my wondering about Wonder Woman. Thank you guys for listening this week. Whenever you listen to this cast, the finale, because it'll be this week, probably tonight, this morning, it's really late. Tonight is the finale of True Blood, and we're going to check it out, and then I will have a episode on the Bite Me cast about the finale and what's I think it's going to come. So it's going to be great. I'll be working when it's on, so I won't get to see it till the night. But I know it's going to be awesome. I'm going to look at Jessica's real life person. I forget her name, Deborah Ann Wool. She's going to be live tweeting during the event, but I don't want any spoilers. So guys, check that out. Thank you guys for listening. This is our second Fanboy Weekly episode since we've traversed to Spreaker. This will also be in Blog Talk Radio. You can also catch it on the website at recycleblogtalk.blogspot.com. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, this is Nikki from the 5x5. Take part in a new Facebook community page called Chive Talk. That's Jive with a CH. Share recipes and gardening tips with people from around the world. How is your garden growing?